Trading Nut, episode 123.
So you can shorten those timelines, but it just comes down to those habits, building those habits and having the right information. If you have the right information and then you can get feedback from people who are doing what you want to do successfully, you're going to shorten those timelines.
The market's going to do something. Your job is not to fight it.
The market never, ever runs away. It's always there.
That personal diary of trading will make you a much better trader than...
I could be right about the direction, but wrong about the trade.
Don't focus on the monetary side.
Trying to make too much money on a trade is what I have seen killed every trader.
Your losses offer you some of the greatest insight you can find into your mistakes.
Relax, learn the process.
Candlestick pattern trading is a freaking trap.
Don't be in a rush to become a millionaire.
Let the market tell you what the market wants to tell you.
This podcast is not financial, trading, or investing advice of any kind. What's up, traders? Welcome to another installment of the Trading Nut podcast. I'm your host, Cam Hawkins, and today we've got Angelo Ciaramellow here on the show, all the way from Forex League over there in the US. Now, we've got an interesting kind of show for you today, guys. So Angelo has been in the industry for quite some time and is actually one of these traders that gives signals. So we're going to talk about that in a bit of detail, as well as finding out his full trading story and journey to date. Now, before we get into that show, I do want to let you know something that I've taken me ages to finally get, which is completely not related to trading unless you are sitting at your chair a long time and you're getting a sore back or something like that. But I did have a sore back recently, if you guys will have remembered, and somebody sent me, I think it was somebody from my Robot Builders Club, sent me a recommendation on a rub, a muscle rub, and I've got to say I did get it. It took me ages to find a source for it, and I don't know if it was a COVID thing or whatever, but anyway, I did, and here it is what it is. It's called Wong Tu Yik. Okay, it's from Hong Kong. Wong Tu Yik. I'll open up the package here, guys. If you're watching this, you're going to see what it is. If you're not, you're going to have to go into the YouTube channel. But this is what it looks like in the little bottle. It is awesome. I used it in football. I played 2 football matches in the weekend, 1.5, and rubbed it on the legs. It literally brought them back to life. I could not believe how good this stuff was. So guys, if you're looking for a muscle rub, if you're suffering from any aches or pains, this is not sponsor of my show, but I'm just recommending this as an awesome product. Apparently it's got 50% of the sort of stuff that Tiger Balm only has 15% of. So 50% of that, which is almost like an aspirin for the muscles. All right, guys, just a quick completely random thing there to start off the show. So we're about to get into it with Angelo. But before we do, 2 little things. One is Trader versus Trader semi-finals coming up. So these are 2 guys competing against each other. So we've going to have a break in between. But we're going to have the first semi-final coming up this week. So if you do want to check that out, these guys both got around about 10% return on their first attempt. So come and check that out. It's live over here on Trading Nut, probably after this goes live. So you're going to watch the replay. And we've got some other videos over there to watch on the YouTube channel. So Matthew Todd released probably the best breakdown of market structure I've seen on my channel or any other channel. In fact, it's a 2-part thing. Part 1 is up there. He breaks down the theory behind how he builds market structure. So please go and check that out. We also shot a video after the interview with Angelo, so you're going to have to go and check that out as well. And guys, whilst you're there checking stuff out, do remember to check out my Robot Builders Club, where I'm teaching people how to build trading robots from scratch without any coding. There's a video course, there's a community, live Q&A calls, and you get 30 plus ready-made robots when you join. I'm going to be closing the doors to that soon, so this is the time to be joining if you're thinking about it. All right, folks, without further ado, let's get on with this interview. Whether you're a struggling trader or a profitable trader, our sponsor, City Traders Imperium, are offering you the chance to become a fully backed Forex trader. That's right, get coached and funded with CTI today. All right, folks, here we are on Trading Up. We've got Angelo Ciaramellow here on the show with us today, part of Forex League. Welcome to the show, Angelo. How are you?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Okay, great. Well, look, today we're going to hear your story. So I want to start off by finding all about how you got into trading and your journey to date. So do you want to dive in deep, and I'll ask questions along the way?
Yeah, I mean, we could kind of just start off where I got started from. It's actually funny. One of the recent interviews that you have done is with the trader that I originally purchased a course from. So like everyone else, I went on Instagram. I was thinking about ways to make money, ways to make money online. And I found e-commerce, I found trading. I found several other ways, arbitrage type things. And to me, I was always interested in trading when I was young. Opened up a trading account when I was 18, and I made some money. I bought a little dip after Brexit and made some money back in the day. So I understood the power of compounding and, the power your money can have to create some wealth for yourself. So getting into how I got started, again, looking on Instagram, came across a guy named Q Banks, came across his page. I was allured by the cars, the lifestyle, everything going on there. And I also thought that he was a very genuine dude, with everything that he was doing. So I went ahead, I purchased my first trading course. It was actually the last trading course that I ever purchased as well. So I went in, all in like everyone else. And at the time I had just graduated college. I had some money saved up. So I took some time off after school and I said, I'm going to commit myself fully to this. I'm going to be a millionaire in 6 months. It's going to happen. I'm going to do the whole manifestation, thing. And obviously, or not obviously, but like most people know, that's not normally how it goes. There's a lot of trials and tribulations. I still remember the first trade I ever took. I took a sell limit order on one of the major pairs, and it was overnight, and I made like $900. Like I risked way too much and just made like too much money for the account size that I had. And I was like, whoa, like this is crazy. I was like, this is about to be great. And then, you start taking some losses and the whole psychology thing kicks in. So yeah, I got started, like most people on IG. I kind of tried to stick with one program. Like I'm really a big believer in don't try to dip your hand in like too many piles. So I just tried to stick with one program. I got the base of my technical analysis from Q Banks' course, Wall Street Academy. And then from there, I started networking with other people. I think that was kind of the most powerful thing, starting to network in and to meet other traders, whether I was like in Starbucks or whether I'm at the gym or whatever. I just started to vocalize like what I was doing. And I ended up meeting a few different people, one of them including my partner now with Forex League, Nick. And at the time, he had about 4 years more of experience than I did. And he actually wouldn't even have a conversation with me because I was a beginner, because he didn't want to teach me, you know what I mean? Because I didn't know anything really. And then as time went on, I spent time by myself, continuing to learn from the material that I had available, and got to the point where I sort of rose, my skill level rose a bit. I had a better comprehension of the market, and I had ideas. I started to have my own ideas, and then that's when I came together with Nick, and then we started doing a lot of backtesting sessions together, getting into kind of building the whole Forex League brand. We'll get into that in a minute. But it was definitely, I'll say this, not easy. A lot of accounts were blown. A lot of FTMO challenges tried. You know what I mean? Like a lot of sacrifices made. But at the end of the day, my big, I guess, breakthrough was just understanding like the risk management and just understanding that you're going to lose trades. Like I was so psychologically, for myself, like the psychology was certainly the hardest thing to get over. And I can get into like some methods as to how I kind of got over that. Looking back, it was so long ago. Like that was about almost 3.5 years ago or whatever. I almost like forget some of the mechanisms that I've used. They're all inside of our programs, obviously. But like at the point I'm at now, I'm not exactly exercising those plans and everything because it's more second nature at this point. But it's, like I said, we can get into some of the things that I use because psychology is everything. You can learn technical analysis in literally less than 6 weeks. You can learn it in 2 months. You can learn how to use the tools if you're learning from the right people. But then it comes down to applying them, understanding patience, knowing where your opportunities are. And for me, what changed everything was really just backtesting. I don't know if some people say it doesn't work, for them. Once I started to do that, because I had a real issue with taking entries I was just not confident. Like especially once I lost money, I was really like hesitant for getting into orders and taking entries. Like I just had so much fear about losing money. And once I started back testing and started to showcase, where are those opportunities? It's all about the probabilities. So where are the opportunities that have the highest probability according to what I'm looking for? When I went through my back testing, I read this one book called The Playbook by Mike Bellafiore, and that was another book that was kind of revolutionary, or not revolutionary, but changed the way that I thought, because he talked about in his firm, every trader, in the first year, it takes like about 2 years for them to become profitable, and talked about a lot of the methods that he used for his traders to get to that next level. And one of them was every day he makes them create this like daily playbook. And in there, it's basically just screenshot 1 to 2 trades that happened in the session, before and afters, what were the confirmations, what were all the indicators that could signal where to enter. And then you're sort of just building your book. You're building your book of entries. Then you go ahead, review those. He would have the traders actually review them with one of the more experienced traders, talk through what were you looking for, why did you get in on this position, et cetera, get feedback from them, take notes, and then take psychological notes as well. And once I started to read about that and do it myself, and I gained that repetition, and I like to make the comparison between really any craft, but the gym is a good comparison. Like, you got to get the repetitions, you got to do the sets. But once you can understand how to put together like a plan to strategically go about practicing, that's when you're going to start to build ultimately confidence. And that's what happened with me, with our program. That's where I see people gaining the most success is really understanding where the confidence comes from, how to build a plan around the basic tools, fibs, support and resistance, supply and demands that I was using, and then just practicing them like a maniac until the point where once you get into the live market, you start to remove a lot of those emotions, because everything starts to become more automatic. You're triggering things not based on emotion, you're triggering it based more on an experience, based on an idea that you have. And then when you see that idea obviously come to fruition, there's power in that, and then you go ahead and review that, and that's how you continue to build that momentum. So yeah, obviously touched on quite a few things there, but
yeah,
that's kind of how I got started.
Just jumping in here, folks, with a quick message from my sponsor, Sage Strategies. Now, you might already know the boundaries of trading are expanding faster than ever, but you may not know that there's still time to take advantage of these opportunities. With my sponsor, Sage Strategies, you can instantly access institutional-grade algorithms that have been robustly tested by their team of experts. Their strategies provide fully automated responses to market opportunities in real time, which allow you to trade beyond human limitations. Go and check them out at sagestrategies.io or click the link in the description. And so the back testing, I mean, how did you go about your back testing, and what really sort of solidified, man, I need to do more back testing? Because that seemed to be the game changer for you there.
No, it really was. I was struggling like really bad, to be honest. I was struggling. I knew how to put everything on the chart. I knew how to make the chart look pretty. Everything looks like it's going to work out. And then just getting into the trades, I hit a wall. Like, I couldn't get through it. And then I use, like most people, TradingView. They've got the replay tool on there. I tell everyone to do this, like, you hide all the information, go back to a certain point in time. I normally would do 1 month, and I would just simulate that 1 month going through like USD CAD. What are the positions that what is the trend? Like, I'm a trend trader. Like, I just based on market structure and then just execute based on price action. So, I literally wrote out, like, and this is something, honestly, that I learned even inside of Q's course. Like, I learned inside of his program. Like, I saw someone, I was in the Facebook group, someone mapped out their trading plan. Point A, point B, point C. What do you look for? First, identify the trend. Next, bring on some confirmations. Next, identify an entry zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's very simple things. I started to to do that, and I thought, well, I'm not going to sit here and forward test. It's going to take it's important to forward test, in due time, but how can I simulate all these scenarios, right in and out? Like, how can I go through 1 month of data? And, I found the replay tool through whomever. I believe I really showed myself how to do it, to be honest. And then just got on the charts, man. Got on the charts, started simulating those entries, kept a journal on everything like that. And most people know how to use it. If you don't, it's pretty simple. We have a video on our YouTube page that walks you through, like, step by step how to actually utilize the tool. I believe you need to have a pro membership. It's not available in the free membership, at least if you want to get down to like the 1 hour, the 30-minute and below there. But yeah, it was definitely a game changer for me using it.
So what time frames are you trading on now? Are you going really low, or are you sticking to the higher time frames?
It's actually crazy because I've always been a swing trader, and I think because for me originally, now I'm not working a 9 to 5. I'm not working a full-time job. I'm just trading and running my business full-time. But at one point I was working a 9 to 5, and it was extremely difficult. I really couldn't trade the New York session. Like, I couldn't be a intraday, looking for positions and monitoring them from 9 to 12 because I had a job. So I gravitated towards swing trading. That was my style. Still is. Like, I'll still look for swing trade positions, but I've seen in the last. So swing trading 4-hour time frame, to answer your question, daily time frame. I was using marking my levels on the monthly, the weekly time frame overall for like my key levels, my key areas to look for. Like, as of the last year with COVID and everything going on and the volatility, I've found personally that swing trading is not that it's not as effective, but the market is moving a little bit different. It's, the conditions have certainly changed. I've gravitated more towards going down to the lower time frames. I've started to implement some other tools. I used to be big on using the Fibonacci. I'm not as big on using Fibonacci anymore. I see a lot of people using it. I personally just don't use it. I've been trading very strictly based on structure and price action only. And then as of recently, I've started to implement 2 wonderful tools, the VWAP tool, and then as well as volume profile. So I've been drawing my line, my support and resistance levels like anyone else. You're looking at the bodies of the candles, you're looking where they close, where are multiple touches in the market where, you're saying that there's liquidity there, where's a liquidity zone. And all of that is not hypothetical. The candles obviously close at a certain area, but to me, it's like, if I can get into the data, if I can see where is the actual volume, like, to me, it just seems so much more logical. Like, from a standpoint of where is the supply and demand? Where are the buyers and sellers? Like, strategically, where are real people buying and selling? You know what I mean? As opposed to, like, I'm just going to put this line based on some theory or hypothesis, you know what I mean? So I'm starting to gravitate more towards that. It's actually funny, as someone who has a program that teaches people the basics of technical analysis, me and my partner Nick, we're no, messiahs or whatever. You know what I mean? We are normal people, and there are people that are better than we are. And I'm looking to learn from them along with, what I do now that brings me success. I'm looking to learn from people who have better results than I do. And there are people that are beginners that are not consistent, not profitable, don't understand risk management, that are learning from us. And it's a ladder. It's a ladder within the industry. There's nothing wrong with us providing the education because people need it. And then what's important to me is I always keep an open mind, always continuing trying to learn. That's the game that we're in, man. It's a performance-based sport, and it's constantly changing. You got to constantly be adapting. So recently, I've started to implement new tools. I'm becoming extremely confident with them. As I have more time set aside, to test. And really, to me, I'm just forward testing now because I'm just an active trader. You know what I mean? So I'm really just like forward testing it, and trying to be as conservative as I can, you know, using risk management and everything.
So you like, for example, so for the guys that haven't seen Volume Profile or VWAP, maybe go and check it out after the show. But I mean, so are you looking at that compared to fib levels and sort of going, okay, well, are these levels matching up with fibs, or have you just completely thrown the fibs out the door and gone, let's just look at VWAP?
I've completely gotten rid of fibs.
Okay.
I've completely gotten rid of fibs. I've completely gotten rid of the supply and demand zones. Like, I'll share my chart in a second and show you, but basically what I try to keep my charts very clean, very very naked trading in a way. Just run my monthly and weekly levels, and then literally looking for breaks and retests, you know, of higher time frames where it's structured, and then execute on price action. I've been using a lot more limit orders as of recently, getting much better entries with them. And these are all things, like I said, like the VWAP and the volume profile tool literally was brought to me by one of our students in the program. He was in the program for like a year. And he actually went and learned these tools, came back to me and was like, hey, check these things out. And I'm like checking them out. And I'm like, whoa, to me, this makes so much sense. And it, like, you know, the trades that I'm taking, the risk reward I have is so much better. So I'm going to continue to expand on this idea. So it's like we're all here to learn from everyone. You know what I mean? Whether I have more success this month than this person or whatever, you know, we're all here to learn from each other. And I try to keep that in mind. Like, the student, like I look at Q, like he always actually said this, the relationship between the mentor and the student isn't for the student to always stay underneath the mentor. It's for the student to surpass the mentor in time. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying like I'm here to surpass Q or whatever, but, you know, my students, that's the goal. They should rise up, you know, take the material, comprehend everything, and then bring ideas to myself, to Nick. You know, ultimately, there's one of our students that I can flat out say is a much better trader than I am at this point. Like, he just blew the door open on everything. But, you know, it's crazy, man, the community. And I just, like I said, I just try to remain open-minded. So right now, you know, I'm big on the VWAP. I'm big on volume profile. I could do a little demo in a second, show everybody kind of what it is and everything. But yeah,
awesome. Yeah, there's a couple of resources on Trading Nut as well. If you guys check out episode 89 with Andre Stewart, so he does like a 45-minute volume profile sort of run through. So if you guys want to check that out, if you're desperate, but also check out Angelo's video that we'll record after this as well. Now, do you want to run us through some of your stats around your trading? I mean, how's your trading these days, and have those stats changed, like win rates, risk to reward ratio, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I would say that the risk reward ratio for me was always around 2 to 1, 1 to 1, to be honest. Always around 2 to 1, 1 to 1. As of recently, it's increased dramatically with the implementation of these new tools to around a 1 to 4, 1 to 5. In regards to account growth, I tell this to everyone. I'm one of those people that only risk 1%. I only risk 1%. I only risk 0.5% per trade. So per month, you know, what I'm shooting for is 5 to 10%. Like, I stick to risk management plan. You know, ultimately my goal, not in the beginning, because I, you know, for who I was affiliated with, like, it was a little bit different trying to flip accounts and all that. But once I started to settle in and I started to work with my partner, Nick, he really introduced me to, you know, kind of a more strategic way of doing risk management. So I'm always risking 1%, 0.5% per trade. The goal has always been to be funded. At one point I was funded with FTMO. Obviously now with having our own firm, I'm focused on trading with that firm. So my goal every month is 5 to 10%. That's my goal. You know, my stats throughout the year, if I can hit 5 to 10% per month, great. There are losing months. There's months like this past month, I was down 3%. You know what I mean? So there's not every month where I'm just like killing it out the door. But overall, like, I'll take a quarterly approach. How are my results over the quarter? and if I'm hitting that 15% target, to me that's a great return. I mean, I'm looking at Forex as, I tell this to everyone, one of my streams of income, right? One of my streams of income, along with my other businesses. My goal ultimately would be to make everything as passive as possible. You know, we're moving towards that. There's a lot of ways to do that with the EAs and everything. But to me, you know, if I can grow my money by 10%, 15% over the course of a quarter, it's a great thing. You know, it's a great thing for me. And obviously with all these funding programs, you're able to access a lot more capital, which is extremely important.
Awesome. And so what about like over a month, for example? So you talked about, you know, you had a down month the other day. How many trades in a month are you taking?
So I would say on average, I'm fairly active. I'm a fairly active trader. I would say anywhere from like 1 trade a day. So throughout the month, I could hit about 20 to 25 trades.
Okay. And how many, like on a losing month, how many are you winning? What's your win rate on a losing month?
I would say the win rate on a losing month would be, because to me, it's all about the percentage gains. You know what I mean? But the win rate on a losing month, for example, was like around 60%.
Okay. And what about on a winning month? What would it change, or does it make no difference?
It's subjective, but it could jump all the way up to like 85%.
Right. Okay. Cool. And how many instruments are you looking to trade? How many markets? And which markets?
So I really only trade the major pairs, and then plus gold and GJ. Those are the only pairs I look at. If you guys come into for anyone out there watching, if you come into the Telegram group, you'll see every single week I post my analysis on the major pairs, on gold, on GJ. Gold more recently. I've been picking up trading gold a lot more recently because I realized like I didn't trade it for the longest time because I just like wasn't paying attention to it. Now I'm realizing there's a lot of opportunities with gold. So gold I've added more recently, but yeah, those are the main pairs I look at. I know some people that trade one pair. At one point I looked at a lot more pairs, but you know, mainly my favorite pairs are really just GU, UCAD, and USD CHF. And now gold is becoming one of my favorite pairs as well.
Okay. And what does your typical trading day look like?
So it really all depends because I'm doing so much with the Forex League and then also with FX Seed and with kind of managing the business side of things. I always look to trade the New York session. The London session, I don't really trade the London session, and the Asian session, I don't find many opportunities. But for example, I could walk you through today. I mean, we hopped on at around 9 a.m. We did a live trading session from 9 to about 11. You know what I mean? So I have all my analysis prepared, you know, ready to hop on. But for the most part, it's trading the New York session.
Okay. And what do you think made you different in the beginning than other guys out there who've come in, tried a million courses and are still struggling, but they're still stuck in here thinking, I can see the light. What do you think made you different? You stuck to one course and you've tried, you know, you've obviously evolved over time. Any traits you may have had, any actions you may have taken that others didn't?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I just see people doing that confuses me is someone will, it's almost like they'll hold 7 books up at the same time and they'll try to read a line from every book. And then they're like, why don't I understand like book 6, like book 3? Like, why don't I understand book 3 or book 1? Or like, why don't any of these books make any sense? Or why can't I relate to anything? And it's because your attention is spread too wide. Like your attention needs to be directed on one style. And I always say, follow a leader that obviously provides the results. I always say follow someone that is active daily. Like all the people who are, in my opinion, legitimate. They're doing live trading sessions. They're showing their analysis. They're an active trader. You know what I mean? Like they're in the game. They have skin in the game. So, you know, try to find someone who is active daily, who's providing value, who you're able to talk with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can relate to them, because when the going gets tough, obviously you want to look at them for motivation, hold you accountable and whatnot. And yeah, like you just have to find one program. Like we have a program, and there's many programs out there. Just kind of find one and just live and die by those methods, because you can't become a master at something by focusing on 10 different things. Like it really doesn't make sense. And when you find a group that provides you, like holds you accountable, like that provides value, like don't think it's the group's fault for not learning and not becoming profitable. The mirror's got to turn on you. You know what I mean? The mirror, you have to look yourself in the mirror. You have to see there's people here that are getting results. There's people here that are having success. I chose this group for point A, B, and C. I'm here. Why am I not achieving this level of success that these other people are achieving? What in my head is construing my results? So it comes down to you. So don't think that and someone said this the other day, like a couple of weeks ago, I was trading and I wasn't paying attention to the news, FOMC meeting, and it's obviously a lot more impactful right now with COVID and everything, came out, went against my position, and then the average person is like, let me go and like become a fundamental expert. Let me go and, learn all I can about fundamentals and try to, patch that part of my game and everything. But the reality is, like, yeah, that one trade might have went sour or whatever, but the point is I'm going to continue to take the next trade because I know I have an edge, regardless of that news event. So don't think that you need more information. Like, information is simple. It's very simple. It's you. You need to unpack the complexity within yourself, within your own head. Why are you continuing to take losing positions? Like, why are you not building up confidence? Like, what are your habits? You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my whole thing is like, commit to one thing, stick with that, and then just start to evaluate yourself. And that's the hardest thing with trading. People don't want to dig into, their own faults, their own kind of insecurities. And that's what leads to making money. You got to unpack all that stuff.
Yeah, I swear, you're definitely right there, aren't you? And I think because people tend to jump into a course and go, I'll do the course. And then at the end of it, they're like, take a few trades and it didn't work out. And then they don't unpack. And I think that's what it is. It's the unpacking, and the unpacking being, because the general default is, course didn't work. I've lost confidence in the strategy or whatever the approach is, and therefore I'm going to move on to the next one. Whereas if you start to unpack, then you've got a chance of working out, hang on a sec, what have I missed here? Because especially if you can see other people succeeding doing the same thing, unpack what they're doing. I mean, as a point of, first point of attack of trying to work this through is unpack their trades. How did they get that entry? Did it match up with the strategy? And why didn't you take that trade? So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
It just takes time, man. It takes time, and the average person really wants this to happen very fast, and you have to legitimately change to be able to withstand everything going on. And I commend anyone like giving signals in a group, giving their trade ideas out there to the public. I remember a point in time when I was scared to even post a chart about an idea. You know what I mean? And that was all internal, internal confidence. Like, I didn't have the internal confidence to do that. When at the point that I'm at now, it's like, if I need to make the call for the trade, whether it goes good or bad, like, that's not the point of me giving the call. Like, the call needs to be made, so it gets made, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have that unwavering confidence. You have to move with such conviction in this market. And I think a lot of people, one quote is like, the most confident man is going to win the most money. It's going to make the most. Like, you need to have conviction in everything that you're doing. And like you said, you got to kind of unpack. Like, to me, I'm all in. Like, this is, everything. I love trading. I love money. Like, all this. My favorite show is Billions. Like, people might say, haha, but my favorite show is Billions. And in that show, they were, it's a great show, great actors. And, they have like a psychologist in-house. FCMO has this too, which I think is amazing. They have a psychologist in-house. Whenever the main character goes through a losing streak or can't figure out, the decisions to be making, he goes to the psychologist, evaluates, what are his choices, and to your point, it unpacks and helps you rewire and helps you remap out, like, where should I go? What direction should I head in? A couple of shows were utilizing these methods. Like, people need to realize that you need to not only talk to yourself, but maybe even talk to, FCMO has it, the psychologist or something, and really understand yourself and what's going to trigger you. One thing around a year ago that made a big difference in my trading as well was when I was in positions, as soon as I started to trigger an emotion, as soon as I started to attach myself to that position, I was I'm up 1%, and I'm at this point now, I don't want to lose this 1%. This 1% means something to me. As soon as that happens, I close the trade, or I remove 75% of the position, because I'm not thinking strategically. I'm not thinking without emotion. I'm becoming attached to that position, and whether I gain another 3% on that position or I lose that 1%, the result of that is going to be emotional. It's going to be, I'm either going to become more confident, my confidence will be blown up, which isn't good in the long run, or I'm going to become kind of upset that I lost that 1%. I'm going to be thinking, I wish I had that 1%. And this is different for everyone, man. Some people, I'm a thinker. I think into things, deeply. Some people are not that way. And one thing that I've seen about my course, and this could, go any which way, but I've seen people that are a little bit older, they tend to understand themselves a little bit more, as opposed to the young trader who's 18, 19. They don't really understand themselves as much. They don't have much life experience. And then when they come into trading, it's hard for them to gauge how things are going to affect them emotionally. Winners, losers, whatever, work ethic, working, their schedule, everything like that. It's hard for them to build that side of the business, because trading is a business. You need a business plan, you need a strategy, and then you move into the market, implement that model, implement that business plan, and then you attack within those parameters. If it's not working, you pull out. Trading is not coming to the market, prices moving, I'm gonna just trigger a position. You know what I mean? It's not like that. You gotta be extremely strategic in what you're doing, or you're going to lose a lot of money. Reality.
Now, giving people, if you had to give people a step-by-step path to this, to trading for a living, what would that be?
Step-by-step path. If someone knew absolutely nothing, what would I suggest them to do?
Yeah, they've come into this and they didn't know anything. How would you give them a step-by-step path, and I suppose a realistic time frame in which to achieve that?
Well, when it comes to working with a legitimate firm, the time frames are pretty set up. I mean, they talk about, and I've looked into this a lot, they talk about, the first year, 6 months, you're learning, whether it's TA or order flow or reading the ticker or whatever, you're learning how to evaluate the data. You're learning what are the whys behind the system, behind the engine. Why is everything moving? And then from there, maybe they strap you up with a little demo account. They give you a set time to trade in during the day, during the session. They start to educate you on some patterns to look for, very bare bones, execute based on this and see if you can make it happen. And then after the first year is when you're starting to actually have conversations with more legitimate traders, because you can start to come up with your own ideas. And you're presenting them, and then you're getting feedback, and then from that feedback you start to, like I said earlier, build that book of your ideas. What are the successful ones? What are the negative ones? And then in year 2 is when you should start to really turn a profit in most firms. Year 3 is when, at the end of year 3 is when, in most cases, they start to really capitalize you, and then you can start to scale up. So you got to think that's in a legitimate firm, 9 to 5, maybe 9 to 8. You're going there and you're on a regimented schedule, and you're ripping through the day-to-day, 9 a.m. you're meeting with the team, 10 a.m. you're back testing, 12 p.m., you're taking a break, whatever. Like, it's a very regimented approach. Most people getting into this space, most people that are looking at your page, they're just the retail trader, maybe trading on the side of their 9 to 5, you know what I mean? Not spending as much time as these people. So if you have no prior experience with trading, don't get me wrong, you can still within this time frame make a ton of progress. My partner always says this, I have a ridiculous work ethic. Like, I'm out of my mind. So, what he did in 7 years, I was able to come into in like 2.5 years because I really put in a lot of work.
Yep.
So you can shorten those timelines, but it just comes down to those habits, building those habits and having the right information. If you have the right information and then you can get feedback from people who are doing what you want to do successfully, you're going to shorten those timelines. And then now that obviously acquiring capital is accessible, like, the opportunity is even more so. The ability to become profitable and to make money is even quicker, even shorter.
Now, thinking about a price chart, I mean, you've talked about a few elements here, but if you had to sort of go, hey guys, go off and study this for a month, what 3 things would you recommend somebody go off and study?
Like tools?
Yeah, tools on a price chart. So this is really sort of TA.
Yeah, I mean, before this, as a beginner, I would recommend, obviously study candlestick analysis, like study the candlesticks, study patterns, and then other than that, study the trend. Only study trending markets. When are lower lows and lower highs forming, when are higher highs and higher lows forming, downtrends and uptrends. Study those first. Now, with the new information that I have, it would really just be focus on the VWAP, focus on the volume profile, and then just focus on really managing those orders. It's really interesting because since I have all this prior experience with marking down support and resistance levels, demand, like all the different TAs, like I'm kind of incorporating all of it now into this one strategy. And yeah, I mean, if you don't know your patterns, like you got to know those things like the back of your hand, like realistically. Like that's definitely the one thing I would say, like understand the patterns, understand the candlesticks, and really understand like where is the trend, identify the trend.
Awesome. Now, before we get into the quickfire rounds, do you have any special mindset hacks or techniques that you can share with our guys so that they can, I suppose, get to a point where they become a more effective trader?
Yeah, I mean, it just, like I said before, it's different for everyone. You have to really understand yourself. Like for me, there was a lot of work that I did. I did a lot of meditation. Like I did I'm big into like working out, a lot of exercise. Like when it comes to trading, it was all about the repetition. It was all about back testing for me. So when it comes to mindset hacks, look at what you're eating, look at the stuff you're reading, look at all the information that you're taking in and don't spread yourself thin. Direct your attention at one thing and spend your time on that one thing and don't let yourself burn out. That's definitely a big thing. You read online, work 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. Like Gary Vee always says that. And, the reality is, guys, like, I agree more with Bezos. He says that you can only have one meeting a day. I mean, he's worth a ton of money, so he could have one meeting a day maybe. But, for me, it's like focus on, if you're going to trade the New York session, back test during the New York session. You know what I mean? Get yourself in the mindset of trading during that session. It will benefit you so much more. If you're back testing at 3 a.m. and then you're going and trading the New York session, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
You're trading at 2 different times of the day. You know what I mean? So try to line yourself up with where you're trying to be trading at. You know what I mean? And
I like that. That's awesome. That's a great little hack there, guys. Is if instead of trading, back test at the same time you're going to be trading. First time I've heard that on the show. Right, now we're going to jump into the quick fire rounds here, Angelo. Some of them are quick, some of them aren't. But it's going to wrap the show up. Okay. How long did it take you to go from trading newbie to consistently profitable?
About 2.5 years.
What's your favorite entry setup?
Favorite entry setup is just break and retest.
What strategies do you use to exit or manage trades?
Move my stops to break even at 1-to-1. And to exit trades, just key levels.
What's your recommended trading book or resource?
The Playbook by Mike Bellapier.
What's your preferred broker and trading platform?
Currently, we're partnered with Prosperity Forex.
Hey, you ever wonder what broker I use? Well, I use Hanko Trade. It was a no-brainer because I was looking for a broker with good trading conditions and no restrictions on trading my strategies. But one of the main reasons was their raw ECN spread, which could challenge any other broker you're trading with. Learn more at hankotrade.com or click the link in the description.
And preferred trading platform is MT.
Sorry, I lost you there. Was it MT4, yeah?
You break up?
Yeah. MT4?
I actually said MT4, but recently I've been using MT5, and I'm loving MT5. Not gonna lie.
Cool. Walk us through your worst trade.
My worst trade was taking NZD USD buy right before the FOMC meeting, and that thing tanked.
Wow. Blame New Zealand. If you could leave our listeners with one piece of advice, what would it be?
One piece of advice would be that it's totally possible to be successful with trading and to build business around trading and to just be patient. Be patient and put yourself around the right people.
Brilliant. Look, before we wrap up, what's the best way for traders to get hold of you?
Yeah, so you can contact us on Instagram, Forex League, or Nick Dark FX, and in there send us a DM or our Telegram channel. That's where we're going to be sending all of our updates. And then also Saved by FX is my personal page if you want to shoot me a follow.
Cool. And guys, we're going to try and get Nick on the show, and we're going to try and do it next week. So if you're listening to this the week that it goes out, then hopefully a week away we'll have Nick, and we'll be able to hear his story as well and tie everything up. Look, brilliant. Big thank you to Angelo for sharing with us today. Everything we've discussed here, along with all the links, are in the show notes. To find them, simply search for Angelo in the search box on tradingnut.com. Until next time, I wish all my listeners trading happiness and success. Alright guys, so there we have an interview with Angelo done and dusted. Do remember we did shoot a video after this, so please go and check that out. And all those other videos over there on the YouTube channel, the channel is growing massively. And also there is a members only video area there as well if you want to get extra things. And there should be a crypto video dropping shortly, as well as all of that other trading chart related information as well. So guys, heaps of stuff happening over there at the YouTube channel and also on tradingnut.com. And if you want to get more from me and find out how I build trading robots, then you know where to go. The Robot Builders Club over there on Trading Nut. We'll see you in the next episode. Have a good one.